What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. On this episode we're doing an engine swap.
ハイパースピードメディア
It's now winter and I can finally start this project. So what we have here is the NB1 Miata that is a rolling shell. Everything else is completely stripped. So it's a good candidate for an engine swap. The chassis itself only has about 40,000 miles, so there's no rust anywhere on the car at all. So my plan for this is to do a 13B rotary swap. So if you'd like to learn more about this whole complete swap, this is the build series and this is episode 1. For this episode, we're going to strip the car even more and get rid of everything that we don't need. And we're going to get rid of all the wiring harness and everything here because I'm going to build a completely custom wiring harness. And I might build a custom wiring harness for the lights also. And that's all I'm going to keep is the lights. Everything else got to go. So let's do it. Let's get started on the project. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these wiring that I don't need, and then I'll continue on with that. Okay, so the fuse box has already been removed. So I'm going to remove this whole wiring harness completely. I'm going to push it through this grommet right here into the firewall. I'm going to wire the lights up for at a later date. So here's the harness for the light. And I'll probably reroute it and make it look prettier through the fender at a later date. Now I'm going to do the same thing and push this grommet all the way in for the engine harness because we're going to make a new harness. So now I'm going to do the same on this side of the wiring harness. The only different on this wiring harness that it has a hood release latch right here, cable that is connected to the grommet. So you just got to be careful with that. Okay, so now that I got rid of all the harness, the next thing I'm going to do is get rid of all the fuel system right there. You have to cap out the fuel tank because it might leak, so make sure you cap that out before you remove the fuel system right there. So the main goal is to remove the subframe. First thing I'm going to do is actually take the wheel off, get all the fluid off the brake system, and then remove this whole subframe completely. Okay, I'm going to drain the fluid. Easiest way is through this. Get your bottle ready. Now all I have to do is just pump the brake pedal and that should drain all the fluid. Now that the brake line is disconnected, now it's time to remove the steering column. So we're just gonna disconnect it from right here and pull it out. And then we should be able to drop the subframe and then remove that out of the way. All right, coming to the steering right here on the column, we have 2 bolts that we have to, or 2 nuts that we have to remove, and that should come right out. So after the steering is disconnected, we have to remove the strut tower bolt on the shocks. So we got to disconnect both sides, and then we could drop the subframe completely to the bottom. Okay, so it's going to be very difficult to try to remove this and film at the same time on the bottom. So I'm just going to show where the bolts are. So there are the 2 main subframe bolts right there. So you need to get both of them on each side, and then on the bottom of the subframe, it's a couple more bolts. As you can see, all the way in the back over there. Make sure you use a jack to support it while you're dropping the whole subframe. It's going to be really heavy with all the suspension. So now that we got the subframe out, now is a good time to take the whole subframe apart, because we're going to transfer everything on this subframe to the new subframe. On the next video, we're going to cut and modify the trans tunnel so we can fit the rotary engine in there. So stay tuned for that. See you on the next video.
Please subscribe to Hyperspeed Media YouTube チャンネル